Today is June 22, Monday, and this is episode 14 of OTalakayan. This is actually OTalakayan is the POT's first online interview program that tackles different topics and issues in OT practice and education. So for the month of May and June, our topics are about telehealth. So as I mentioned earlier, this is season 14. We've been together for 14 episodes already. Last session, we had Carla Cuerva giving us a peek of her telehealth sessions in delivering hand therapy for kids. Today, we'll talk about burnout, resilience, and mental health of occupational therapists working with telehealth. So this session is a bit different from the others as we are encouraging more audience participation. So as I mentioned in the reminders, our speaker might elicit some responses from you. And if you wish to participate and answer, kindly use the chat feature of this webinar to send your response to all panelists, not everyone in the chat group. Okay? So we actually have two guests today. The first is our resource person, Dr. Constantine Yu Chua. Cons worked as an OT for 3 years, no? And then he studied the UP College of Medicine. He actually finished residency and fellowship in psychiatry at the Philippine General Hospital. Cons is now a fellow in child psychiatry and has been doing telepractice since April 2020. Hi, Cons! Nakamute ka pa yata, Cons. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And then we also have returning guest. Diba? Meron tayong reactor today, just like sa audience. So actually all of you are reactors, but we have one reactor na naka-video on. She's a returning guest from episode 1. This is Ana Tan Pascual. Hi, Ana. Thanks for joining us today.
Hello. Thank you for having me back. Sasabihin ko pa lang nga ako ang season starter at season ender. Nax!
Yes. Yes. Thank you for being our reactor. Sobrang big time ng ating reactor that I call her a nuclear reactor. Yan. So, Ana is practicing in pediatrics and has been involved in telehealth even before the pandemic. Ayan. So, thank you, Ana, for joining us today. So, wag na nating patagalin, no? Cons. And actually, for the viewers also, no? We'll begin by siguro exploring what are your difficulties in telehealth, no? What difficulties do you experience now that you are engaged in telehealth with your clients? Do you already feel the burnout? Things like that. Okay, so maybe makapag-share ba sa atin si Ana?
Sure. Okay. I try to count how many sessions I've had ng teletherapy na OT since the pandemic started. I've been doing it since before pa. Siguro I started maybe 3 years ago. No, 5 years ago siguro. I've been doing telehealth but not on a large scale. Not like I've been doing this pandemic. So I try to count since the first episode of OTalakayan, I've had about 20 paid OT sessions and about the same free na therapy sessions then. So the free ones are through Autism Society, through Resources for the Blind. So we've been offering free online services and I've had my own private clients then, And siguro the biggest difficulty has really been the adjustment to dealing with clients online. Like I remember one client I have, tingnan ko pa lang siya, talaga yung aura ko, nagra-radiate from my body, no? Pag tingnan ko pa lang siya, titigil na siya at magpe-pay attention na siya. And then, nag-trial kami ng online session. maski anong sabihin ko, hindi niya ako pinapansin. Kasi yung aura ko, hindi nagka-transfer to the screen. See, he just ignored me the whole time. And that was a bit frustrating kasi talagang pag face-to-face kami, we know each other so well. But for him, an online presence is nothing. Wala siyang pakialam sa akin. So that's kind of hard for me. It's having to adjust the kind of activities that we give, the goals that we have. It's very different when it's online compared to face-to-face. And then I think one of the difficulties really is the technology we have, the Wi-Fi can be so bad. I've had online sessions na the first is always Zoom is my go-to, is my fallback talaga, Zoom. But I've had clients who can't do Zoom because they're just data or hindi magandang internet connection nila. So we've had to then resort to either Viber or Messenger. And even Messenger sometimes is difficult. So I've had sessions where we are typing to each other kasi tinuturuan ko yung parents. And I'm interviewing and I'm finding out what's happening. So it's mostly the adjustment, I think, is a big part of the difficulty for me. That I'm so used to doing face to face, and now that it's all online, I have one that I'm seeing face to face. But now that it's majority online, it's really tiring because you're having to deal with a new set of expectations and activities and goal setting. So, yun yung sa akin na experience. I don't know about the audience. Kumusta yung audience natin?
Thank you for your sharing, Anna. Tama, no? Actually, sometimes the aura nga that we have in face-to-face, sometimes di lumalampas sa screen, no? Parang may filter yung screen. May friend ako na nag-share sa akin, sabi niya, feeling niya daw nabawasan yung kanyang authority. Kasi hindi na siya very tangible eh, di ba? There are certain things na talagang gumagana pag face-to-face, pero pag nasa computer, feeling na siguro nung kids or nung adult clients at hindi natin sila kaharap talaga. No? Thank you. Actually, we're still waiting for responses. No? So the participants, you may actually share to us your difficulties, and our resource speaker can perhaps include that in his discussion in a little while. So while we're waiting for our audience to answer, maybe I could give the floor to Cons. No, Cons, ano nga ba ang burnout? No, ano nga ba ang wait lang. Ayan na, meron pa nang nag-share. 'Di ba? Just in. Sabi ni Hazel Salvador, ang kanilang difficulties daw ay internet connections, maybe poor or intermittent connections, coaching a parent is a difficulty, and ayan, decrease in authority too, like with Anna, no? Okay. So I assume Hazel is also a pediatric therapist. Ayan. So while we're waiting for the others, Cons, baka matulungan mo kami dito. Ano nga ba ang burnout? At talaga bang nangyayari yan kahit sa telehealth?
Okay. Okay, hello?
Hi, Cons.
All right, sige. I will just charge my laptop to prevent it from burning out. Pero di ako nakatayo kasi naka-shorts ako. Wait lang.
Okay lang yun.
Yan lang. Ayan, okay. There we go. Pwede naman pala patayin yung video, no?
Oo, ayan. Hello. Welcome back.
Part na pag-a-adjust sa telehealth. So I will just share my slides, but I'd like to greet all the viewers. Good afternoon, first and foremost. So thank you for attending this talk. And it's good to be back in the presence of OTs. Hi.
Yes.
So, okay. So let's talk about burnout. So can you see my slides there? So I'll make this very quick so as to avoid burnout kasi napapagod na tayo palagi nasa screen. So this is beating burnout in telehealth practice. So when we say burnout, it's actually a triad of emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and a lack of sense of accomplishment or fulfillment. So let's take a closer look at these three later. A burnout actually originated from studies involving healthcare professionals, and it's an occupational hazard or syndrome according to the World Health Organization. So it's medically recognized already, and it's a risk factor for mental health disorders like anxiety or depression. I see a lot of patients na nagsisimula sa burnout before they go into anxiety or depression. And it's common among those in high-pressure professions, especially those that involve helping. So, of course, OT is one of that. So, when we say emotional exhaustion, ang common descriptions dyan yung pagod na kahit di pa nagsisimula. Pagkagising pa lang, pagod na, ayaw na magtrabaho. Or pakiramdam nila low-bat na sila or parang upos na kandila. So, it's a very deep tiredness or exhaustion. Parang wala na silang mailabas. Depersonalization, it's a sense of apathy and detachment from your work. Yung wala na akong pake, basta na lang matapos, automatic na lang. It's very mechanical. It's not fulfilling anymore. And a lack of sense of achievement means parang wala naman nangyayari, bale wala yung ginagawa ko, para sa wala na lang, para saan pa. So try to take a look if these apply to you. This is the MASLACH Burnout Inventory. It's an instrument or a questionnaire that actually measures how burned out a person is. It's used for research. Pag 0, it's never. Pagka 6, it's every day. Some of the questions, I'll just read through it. Try to reflect how much it applies to you. I feel emotionally drained from my work. I feel used up at the end of the workday. I feel fatigued when I get up in the morning and have to face another day of work. I can easily or I can't understand how my patient feel about things. I feel I treat some patients as if they were impersonal objects. Working with people all day is a strain for me. I don't deal effectively with the problems of my patients. I have become callous towards people since I took my job. I feel that this job is hardening me emotionally. I feel frustrated by my job. I feel I'm giving too much to my job. I don't care what happens to my patients. Working with people directly puts too much stress on me. I feel I don't accomplish anything worthwhile with my job. I feel like I'm at the end of my rope. I don't deal with my emotional problems calmly. So those are some of the statements here. So it might be a surprise for everyone, but these are actually not normal work conditions. So baka yung iba, work yan ganyan naman talaga. Di ba dapat tinitiis mo? Hindi, it's not normal. It isn't supposed to be that way. So as OTs, we know that work as an occupation should be stimulating, it should be fulfilling, and it should be balanced. So those kinds of statements, work shouldn't be that way. So if it is, then you might be burned out. So what are some causes of burnout? It can be contextual or internal, or maybe we can put it environmental or personal. So pagka-contextual, it can be the workload. There's simply too much work. Or pagka-workload, it's not just the number of patients. Sometimes it's the preparation that comes with a session, di ba? Work demands, work culture. Sometimes toxic yung work culture. The authority figures, the colleagues, the systems and the processes, sometimes yung telehealth toxic kasi ikaw rin yung secretary, di ba? Ikaw rin nagre-remind din, ikaw rin nagko-collect ng money, ikaw lahat-lahat. And of course, your concomitant obligations, kung marami ka rin ginagawa sa bahay, etc. For internal factors that can cause burnout, your interest in work. If kunwari pinilit ka magpedya, di ba? Magkakanta ka ng papam-papam, ganyan, pero deep inside you really hate kids, ganyan, di ba? Or self-expectations. Maybe you expect yourself to not have any break or expect yourself to make the kids normal, di ba? Or realistic ba? Sense of purpose about what you're doing, skill or personality work match. So, yun nga, example natin yung sa pedya, kung bagay ba sa'yo, if this, bagay ba sa'yo. Ako sa field ko, I know people who really won't last a day in psych, di ba? Gugulong yung mata nila sa mga patients. So, confidence and self-assessment, ayun, if, di ba, you feel like parang di ko naman kaya tong ginagawa ko, or I'm not any good at this, nakaka-burnout lalo. Coping skills and having personal issues, of course, is a catalyst for burnout. So let's try to reflect. Do you think you're burned out? Are you exhibiting emotional exhaustion? Are you depersonalized at work, or do you still have a sense of achievement? And if you think you're getting burnt out, which factors do you think are responsible for it? So maybe you can just send in, no, through chat yung mga thoughts nyo, or what is making work difficult for you, especially in telehealth. So sa telehealth, siguro yung mga pwedeng makakos ng burnout, particularly sa telehealth, yun, yung too high self-expectations or expecting the same results as with hands-on clinics. Pero I don't think that's realistic, di ba? Sabi nga ni Ma'am Ana, yung aura of authority does not transfer through the screen. So, if ganun pa rin kataas yung self-expectations, that can lead to burnout. Or difficulty in adapting to the new normal, or doing things the old way can cause burnout, because iba na eh. You can't do the usual obstacle course, you can't do the usual activity sheets. If you try to do those, super tagal dun i-prepare. So that will really push you to burnout. Another thing is no separation between work and home life. Parang work is home. It's parang nawawala yung boundary na pag nasa clinic lang, pag nasa bahay lang. Parang the time you spend at home, nag-iisip ka pa rin ng, pinire-prepare mo pa rin yung para sa telehealth. So parang nawawala yung separateness, and that can cause burnout. Since telehealth is something new, uncertainty about whether you're doing a good job or not can cause burnout. Sometimes, if COVID-related anxieties, if you're worrying about finances, being stuck at home is getting to you, then that can add to burnout. And for many people, the lockdown and the stress of the pandemic can also actually exacerbate or reactivate prior mental health issues. And I actually see that a lot in practice, na kaya pala ang dali mag-burnout kasi meron na pala previous mental health issues na nawo-worsen during this time of the new normal. Sige, maybe Lee would like to say some words before we move on.
May question siguro ako dyan. Is burnout specific to a particular area of work? Or, for example, I'm a teacher and I'm also a clinician. For example, yung duality of role of being an academic and clinician. Is it possible that I'm burned out in clinical work and not burned out in teaching? Pwede bang ganoon? Just in one certain area? Pwede bang ganoon? Or is it usually very encompassing?
That's a good question. I think parang encompassing siya, pero tingin ko meron pa rin isang work na mas contributory more than the other.
Oo.
Pero syempre, the fact na pinagpapatong-patong mo siya, that in itself, di ba, kaya ka na ma-burnout. I'm not saying you, no? But that as an example, the fact na pinapatong-patong mo siya, yun ang nakaka-burnout, di ba? So you
Okay.
can treat it na in isolation.
Kasi in relation to that question, I'm thinking, is it possible na ma-burnout ka to something that you haven't tried? For example, you are an occupational therapist who used to do face-to-face in the past, tapos ngayon you're thinking about doing telehealth but you haven't started yet. Pero nandun na yung anxiety, nandun na yung stress, feeling mo burnout ka na even before trying it. Is it possible?
Maybe the more appropriate term dun is anxiety.
Okay. Yeah. So you get burned out with something that you are already engaged with.
It's a work. It's actually uh, to be technical about it. It's a work hazard, no, or a
Aha.
work syndrome. So it's an effect of work on you.
Para siguro malinaw. No? Okay.
Uh,
Parang meron na bang mga parang wala pa masyadong answers sa mga attendees. So reminders, attendees, you can answer, no? And para magkaroon tayo ng sharing, no? Baka later on ma-address din ni Doc Cons yung ating mga concerns. So maybe baka si Anna, we can ask again dun sa last question na pinost ni Cons, perhaps you can post again your last question sa slide mo.
sige.
What was that again?
Sige. Let me bring up that slide again.
Kung burnout ba ako? Yun ba yung question? Hindi. Alam mo, I will tell you a story about my relationship with my profession. When I was single, I shared a room with my sister who's in the banking industry. And every morning, paggising pa lang niya, nagmumura na yan. Kasi magtatrabaho na naman, buwisit. Galit na galit siya every morning. And then one day, bigla siya nagsabi, no, sandali lang, bakit ikaw hindi ka nagagalit pag nagigising ka? I never hear you complain about going to work. And I said, kasi I don't feel that way. I really enjoy what I do. It's a blessing to be able to enjoy what I do. And so, I was going to say I enjoy it more right now. Hindi siguro I enjoy it more. I still enjoy face-to-face. It's still superior to online. But the thing I like about the setup right now is I can spend a lot more time with my children. They're homeschooling, and so we spend a lot of time together anyway. But now we're spending a lot more time together. So I'm looking at it from the positive side, siguro, na I'm seeing the positives of it. But I understand I went through the uncertainty financially. Na parang, syempre, for 2 straight months, almost 3, no? Wala akong sweldo at all kasi talagang wala, it wasn't happening yet. And so I was doing a lot of free therapy during that time for associations, ganyan. But I was thinking, hala, forever na bang free ang aking mga services para sa mga kids, ano? So I did go through that. But I personally, I don't think I'm burnt out. But later, siguro I'll share also, I did take intentional steps to not get burnt out and not get anxious about the situation because it can lead to anxiety. It can lead to burnout kung sige-sige ka lang, ano. But early on, no, not early on. The first week of lockdown, I was like a total vegetable. I was just looking at Facebook all the time. I was just looking at Netflix all the time. I wasn't changing my clothes Pagising ko hanggang matulog ko pa, yun na yung suot ko. And it was so depressing. And then after that first or second week yata, sobrang I sat down and the whole family sat down. We said, let's make a bucket list of what we want to achieve. At that point, we weren't sure how long it was going to last. Sabi ko, let's assume 6 weeks. What do we want to have achieved by the end of 6 weeks? And so we set really small goals. It wasn't parang high goals. It was just easy goals, but it helped us to set parang we need to get over this lump. We need to get productive. And so that really helped us during those early weeks of pandemic. Yeah.
Okay. Ay, wait lang. Ano yung Zoom? Ayan. Okay, akala ko naka-mute ako. Thank you, Anna. Thank you for your sharing. Okay, medyo tahimik pa ang ating audience, no? Again, we're accepting answers, no? Para mas maging mayabong ang ating sharing. I'll get back to cons. Cons. So, kapag ganito, ano nga ba yung pwedeng mga gawin? So, tama ba? Nasa burnout stage na nga ba ang mga OTs who experience this way? And what can we do?
Sige. Well, I'd like to encourage yung attendees to just parang give me an idea. Sa tingin nyo ba, burned out na ba kayo o hindi pa? Mas anxious ba kayo? O burned out na? O hindi pa na-burn out kasi wala bang ginagawa? So, feel free to share your thoughts. So, habang ako, just tired.
Okay. Just tired, not burned out.
Ibig sabihin, may tired. Ako parang, kunwari, ako kanina, ngayon, medyo tired. Parang natitempt ako humiga. Pero, diba sabi nga natin, yung triad is may depersonalization, may exhaustion, tsaka may lack of sense of achievement. Parang ako kanina, isip ko, wag na lang kaya ako sumipot, hihiga na lang kaya ako. Pero di ko naman na-feel yung para saan pa ba ito, ganun, di ba? Yung lack of achievement. Na-feel ko naman na, gusto ko mag-impart ng knowledge, gusto ko ma-meet yung OT community, baka may share ako. So, may ganong fulfillment, di ba? May ganong para purpose. So that's one sign na hindi burnout, di ba? Kasi merong sense of achievement or purpose.
We have another cons. We have another response from one member of the audience. She said, same with Ma'am Anna, first week po ng ECQ, para po akong nag-shutdown. Ang dami po kasing demands during this time sa clinic kung anong gagawin. Then sa bahay. Kasi dahil nasa bahay, dapat gumawa at bakit parating nasa computer. Ayun. So, being at home, no? Being at home and working siguro. At yun nga, nagsha-shutdown kasi ang daming demands. During that time, this is the time that everybody was adjusting. We're in shock and we're also adjusting. Yan. Ayan. Merong poll. Aba, may pa-poll. No, may pa-poll pala tayo. Are you experiencing burnout? Pakisagot. Pakisagot naman ating audience.
Pero you know what, Lee? I think it's normal to have that adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
May period talaga na ma-disrupt yung former productiveness mo. Wala akong kilala na hindi naging couch potato for a certain period. I think people actually, parang it's a transition to refocusing on what's important. Kasi many people have been on the workaholic tendency prior to the quarantine. So, nung nag-quarantine, nag-recalibrate yung mga tao. At part ng recalibration ay yung nahiga na sila. Di ba? Nahiga, nag-Netflix, nag-kain-kain, ganon. So,
correct.
Parang before they went back to occupational balance, nag-dip muna sila. So it's
Correct.
normal.
And
Oo.
especially at this time, kasi this is something that we've never experienced before, right? So
Yes,
parang,
exactly.
I agree, it's
Oo.
really normal for, and actually, about 71% of the attendees have answered the poll. So, Charlie, is it possible to share? O ano to, babanggitin ko lang ba ito? Medyo bago sa akin to tong poll na to. So, wait lang. Share ko na lang siguro. Sige. So, I can maybe share the results of the poll. No?
Sige.
So, as of now, this is so organic. Okay, as of now, 71% of our attendees have responded. 17% or 4 people said yes, they are experiencing burnout.
Uh-huh.
8 people, about 35% said somewhat, they're
Mhm.
somewhat experiencing. And 48, this is the majority, or 11 people said no, they're not experiencing burnout.
Okay.
Okay.
Sige. So let's continue. No?
Mhm.
Sige. So let's keep that in mind.
Ayan.
So here's some tips on how to combat burnout for the 4 people who are experiencing or who think they're experiencing it, and those na somewhat, or mga ways for the others to prevent it. This is called Remedy for Burnout by Fitch. Merong personal prescriptions which involves developing resilience, practicing faith. Faith, not necessarily religion, but siguro yung faith na that there's a meaning to what is happening, that this will be over and something good will come out of it. Cultivating self-worth, meaning not just in work but other avenues rin to do good about oneself and one's life. Promoting creativity is also a way to remedy burnout. Then interpersonal, fostering support, enhancing compassion, and encouraging connection. So actually, I think one advantage of having these Zoom webinars is nagre-reconnect rin yung OT community aside from getting to learn. So this is very good. This one, A.B.C. to avoid burnout.
That ko
First
to.
is adjusting yung perspective or an attitude change. So we can try to think of the quarantine as a chance to refocus. So parang sabi ni Ma'am Ana, di ba, it was a chance to bond with the kids, for example, or a chance to rebalance one's life. Di ba? Yung mga dating na-neglect natin, napapansin ulit natin. So maraming opportunities din ito. So we try to counter negativity with gratefulness and hope. So B is balanced lifestyle. We have to, we have to ensure enough relaxation, exercise, enjoyment, spirituality, and time for yourself. So yung mnemonic is rest. So hindi pwedeng work lang ng work or very passive. So we have to make an effort for occupational balance, and that's a good way to combat burnout. And another B is boundaries, learning to say no and settling for enough. Yung hindi lahat ng request i-accommodate natin o tanggap lang ng tanggap kahit pagod na, sige, okay pa, patient pa, sige, go lang. Or lahat ng pinapagawa, sige lang ng sige. C is connect, meaning we do not isolate ourselves, we reach out to others, and we practice kindness and support each other. That's a big way to avoid burnout. And D is to develop. We develop new hobbies, new skills. Yung mga iba, nag-gardening, iba nagko-cooking, iba nag-arts, or develop new approaches. In teletherapy, this is a good chance to develop new approaches. For example, yung mga mas occupation-based na approaches, mga parent coaching, etc. Other tips, some of these are from my own telehealth practice, although mine is telemedicine. Try to be friendly with the clients and their families. So it actually helps beat burnout, yung hindi masyadong stiff, but rather cordial yung interactions ng therapist with the family. Yung minsan nagtatawanan kayo, minsan nagjo-joke kayo. Of course, professional, pero medyo medyo cheerful at saka medyo human yung relationship ng professional and ng client. Nakakabawas ng tension. Yung minsan, magjo-joke kayo, magkukumusta, parang ganon. Malaking drop yun actually sa burnout kasi hindi na tense yung session. Don't take things too seriously. Respect the limits of our clients and the limits of the telehealth setup. Kung hindi ganun kabilis mag-improve, don't go blaming yourself. It's really the limits of the telehealth and sometimes the limits of our clients. Kasi it's possible na hindi rin ganun katutok yung families because of their own pandemic stresses. Have breaks, move out of the computer. So huwag niyo idikit-dikit yung mga patients niyo, mag-set kayo ng breaks. And during the breaks, you move out, step out to an open environment, or sometimes you move the computer out para hindi kayo magko-computer. Do mindfulness or deep breathing exercises. You can find that sa YouTube. Yung mindfulness, when you step out, you can just focus your mind on what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you can hear. So those are grounding techniques para you empty your mind and just focus on the senses. Of course, you practice sleep hygiene and have gadget breaks. Domesticate yourself, meaning sometimes nakakapahinga kasi ng mind doing chores or doing yung mga domestic stuff. So you do that to rest your mind. And then redefine achievement. Achievement is not just making money or finishing sessions, but sometimes achievement yung nakausap mo yung parents mo, nakausap mo yung anak mo, or nalinis mo yung kwarto mo, naplansya mo yung damit, ganyan. So those are achievements. You redefine your definition of achievement and baka you'll feel better about yourself. Sometimes even resting is an achievement, or when you are able to reflect and plan your life, that's an achievement. So we can redefine our achievement na hindi lang monetary and professional, and that will prevent burnout. So if you have questions, you can just search my page sa Facebook or email me. Now, maybe we can listen to Ma'am Anna's best practices in beating burnout, or even better, you can share your best practices in beating burnout. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Cons. Sige, before Anna shares her experiences in coping, with stress and preventing burnout, reminder lang to the audience that you can actually participate in this discussion by sharing your answer to all panelists. And para ma-share din natin to everybody. So social learning tayo ngayon. Okay? Sige, let's get to Anna. Anna, what are you doing right now? Or what have you done in the past?
For combating burnout.
Yes.
Actually, most of the things that I was planning on sharing were mentioned by Cons, and a few other things na hindi na mention, no? So, I think the first month after the lockdown, we decided as a family on certain things about our routines, no? Di ba, we always telling the families na kailangan may routine pa rin sa bahay. We decided we needed a routine because it's so easy to just, slip into this Netflix binging schedule, no? So we decided early on that we would sleep and wake at pretty much the same time. Okay? Because lalo na yung mga kabataan ngayon, syempre wala na ako sa generation na yan. Mga kabataan ngayon, they sleep at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and then they wake up at 3 p.m., 4 p.m. Feeling ko, ewan ko, for me, hindi na nga tita, lola na yata, no? Parang I feel that's so unhealthy. Because one, you're not sleeping at the right time. Our body needs to be resting at a certain time, no? And the second one is that sometimes you don't even get to see sunlight anymore, which is such a big thing. We need to see sunlight. We need to be exposed to sunlight. And the third thing is, for me, socially, it's not doing a lot. You're not interacting with your family. You're doing, yeah, virtual, social media, ganyan. But it's not the same as face-to-face interaction. And so, yeah, we decided early on, we're going to sleep and wake up at pretty much the same time. We're not very strict about it, but we try to. The second thing is, I don't know if this is just me, but to get dressed. It's such a bucket list. Kasi talagang kaya mo talagang, you don't need to go out, right? So, kaya mong nakapajama lang the whole day, tapos pati yung toothbrush. Am I just killing myself here? Pero di ba? Parang hygiene. Parang get dressed for the day. Instead of just deciding na pambahay lang ako. I find that it helps me get into the mindset that I'm going to start work na. I'm going to get dressed na. I'm going to at least brush my hair. Maski na yung Zoom, walang video. At least naka-brush yung buhok ko. Yung ganon. And we also decided to exercise. Before I got married, I would go to the gym. Surprise! But after I got married, nabuntis ako right away. So it was a honeymoon baby. And then until now, I never went back to exercising. We try to be active, but that's not saying a lot. We live in Divisoria. So wala namang park dito, di ba? Or wala namang parang playground, di ba? And so what we have been doing for the past 2 months or so is at least 2 times, but we try to 3 times a week, we do exercise. And it started with just walking, yung sobrang simple lang. But now, my kids are up challenging our family na kickboxing, na medyo advanced yung medyo toxic kickboxing. So I think that really helps physically, like on a physiological level, but also mentally, yung emotional ba na, nag-exercise ako, pinawisan ako, no? So that really helps us. And then the other thing is that I do try to keep occupied. I try not to fill up my day with social media, although it's very tempting, because you're connected. Before we don't have data. Data ba yung tawag doon? Like we don't have mobile data. Our family, parang pag you're on the road or whatever, we just rely on mobile phone. Pag dumating kami somewhere na may Wi-Fi, then we get logged on. But we try not to be connected all the time. But now you're connected all the time because you're at home, right? So there's just constant barrage of messages and email and everything coming in. So I'm trying to not check my mobile phone all the time. I try. It's hard. But I do try to keep occupied, like with work, OT related stuff. I conduct Bible studies with a few people. I do chores. I try to connect on a personal basis with people, not just posting something, but connecting and seeing how are you doing, how can I pray for you, ganyan. But I think one also very important thing that Cons mentioned earlier is the separation of the work time and home time. I try to start work at 8 and then try to end at 4. So overtime na ako ngayon, di ha? Pumayag lang akong, mahal ko lang ang paot, ha? But I try to end work-related stuff by 4. After 4 o'clock, it's family time. And I try, it's not hard and fast, but I try to make that separation so that I don't get burned out. I think it's my intentional way of claiming my time na kapag 4 o'clock na and a patient texts or sends a video or whatever, I will just say, I will look at this tomorrow. Because hindi ko naman sinasabing, it's my rest time na. Ang yabang naman, ano? Pero I just say, I will get back to you tomorrow. And usually, hindi naman nila sasabihin, bakit tomorrow pa? I think they understand na, or they assume na, busy siguro ko. But I try to have that separation because it's so hard to separate right now because, what Cons was saying, before when you travel to work, your mind is sort of shifting into that work mode. Yeah. And then when you're on your way home, you're shifting back into the home setting, right? But right now, all muddled together. So what I try to do is to, I get dressed. And then the time I try to keep it separate, yung work time and my home time, no? And then, Cons mentioned spiritual component, and that has been a big thing with me. And when I say spirituality, I'm talking about per se our relationship with God, because the uncertainty of this is really nakaka-anxious. We don't know when this will end, how it will end, and all that. And then even everything has changed. This is such a mind staggering thing. Like no other generation. Well, maybe the Spanish flu, but I feel like um, this is unprecedented in the sense that it's something new we're dealing with. And the social media, the constant bombardment of our senses of ilan na yung new cases, ilan na yung namatay, I feel that it can produce so much anxiety. And so my relationship with God has really, I've had to really sit down and spend time reading my Bible, and making sure pag Sunday, it's still our rest day, we still attend online. um Lee, you do a lot of service in the church, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we try to attend service. We're Christians. So I think that has really helped me a lot. In fact, I feel like the Book of Psalms has been my favorite for a long time. But this pandemic, studying the Book of Psalms has been extra sweet. Kasi parang all the acts of David and all that, talagang nafe-feel mo eh. And then the comfort that the Lord brings, I feel that has been really helpful for us as a family. So, yeah, so I think that's basically it. What we try to do to deal with the uncertain times we're living in right now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Anna. I can relate so much kasi ako, for example, I consider myself a bit privileged because yung church sa amin, since nag-lockdown, they only allowed like 4 people to sing for the online masses. And I'm lucky to be part of one of those 4. So I have this Sunday routine of still going to church. Nakakapagod lang kasi parang 3 masses yun. Pero kahit na, parang it's something to you hold on to, no? Faith is very important. Okay, actually meron tayong 2 contributions from our audience. Okay lang, Cons, basahin ko muna, no?
So,
Una, sabi ng isa nating audience member, para po hindi ma-burnout, nag-reconnect po ako sa high school and college friends via Facebook. Nag-Netflix, nag-aral po ako ng sign language. Oh, good. And spend quality time with my loved ones. Pinaka-last po, nag-list din po ako ng daily sked and weekly sked with exercise in between and work. Such an OT. No?
okay, galing.
Napaka-productive. Actually, ang ganda. Ang ganda ng shinare niya. Thank you. Ako, I'm also learning a language, not sign language, but it's good to learn a language. Another one, thank you so much for this talakayan. I really appreciate the A.B.C.Ds and tips. Ayan. Most especially this, redefining goals and redefining what a successful therapy looks like. Do you have more, siguro questions na rin, no? Do you have more practical tips in balancing the home? Especially if you are a parent therapist, yan. And about to distance learning in the new school year? How do you prevent and avoid burnout when we have to develop new roles on top of our therapy roles? Ayan, Coach, I think this is for you.
Ay, si Ma'am Ana muna kasi parent therapist.
Oo nga, and parent. Diba?
Parent.
Okay, sige.
Akong parent, pero
Um,
anak.
I have the utmost level of sympathy for parents who have been thrust into homeschooling right now. I've been homeschooling since my son was 4. So it's been about 12 years that we've been homeschooling. But to suddenly and without your permission be called upon to homeschool your child is very, very stressful. And so, really, realistically, if you can afford it, I would say focus on that first and forego the OT role muna, or at least do part-time until your children and you adjust to doing homeschooling. Dahil, lalo na pag mas malaki, no, I find that because they're missing their friends, because they've been used to going to school, it's harder for them to adjust. For younger kids, I think they like it because I get to be with mommy, I get to wear my pajama at home. I lagi ako may pajama issue, no? Okay, but it's easier, I think, for younger kids because they want to be with mom, they want to be at home. But for older kids, maybe they don't want to be at home. Maybe they can stand to be with your parents, you know. But I think if you can afford it, go part time or delay the OT part of your life and attend to the adjusting to homeschooling for now. I've had many friends call me. The thing now is kasi, mas yung school ay online, their tuition fees are the same. And so a lot of parents are considering going homeschool na lang, mag-homeschool na lang ako kaysa mag-enroll ako na online tapos ang mahal-mahal pa rin because it's a bit cheaper to homeschool. And so it really is hard when you're juggling multiple roles. Juggling multiple roles is already hard, but to develop a new role and do that at the same time with everything else is pretty hard. So I think, yun ang masasabi ko. I don't know what Cons thinks. Siya yung expert.
Ako, I think it's important to still have a time for yourself, even if you don't have the luxury of the quiet time when your kids are in school. I think the parents love that, no? Yung parang, ay, nasa school na yung mga bata, yay. Parang, kasi it's very hard. I think I'm not a parent, but I can imagine it's very hard for um, yung mga ibang mom kasi they feel guilty na naiinis na sila kasi buong araw kasama nila yung bata. Tapos para feeling nila, ang sama akong nanay kasi naiinis na ako na nandyan palagi yung anak ko. Pero you don't have to feel bad kasi it's normal. Kasi nakakainis naman talaga na wala kang me time. Eh. It's a very human response. No? It doesn't make you a bad mom. So, you should still have that boundary na you can explain sa anak mo na, okay, etong time na to, it's mommy's work time, so I have to stay in my room, then you have to play by yourself during this time. Kasi it's my work time, I have to go to the computer and talk with my patients. So during this time, I expect you to play by yourself, or to read by yourself, and don't go inside the room first during this time. Ayun, so that's one of my tips. So as to avoid burnout, yung mag-set ka pa rin ng time na para bang nasa school siya at para bang nasa work ka, even if you're actually both at home.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Padagdag lang ako ha, I'll add to that.
Yes,
Actually, Cons was, I took notes, Cons, yung sa iyong kay Fitch na interpersonal na prescriptions. Meron dito no, yung foster support, enhance compassion, encourage connection. If you are going to go into this parent mode, distance learning, it will be good to connect with other moms who are struggling as well, not to complain and gripe with each other, but you can do that also. But you can find support talaga with people who are going through the same thing. Or even those who have successfully overcome, like those who are more used to doing the homeschool. There's nothing beats getting human support and that connection with other people.
Yeah. And certainly, dad has to be involved. Hindi lang si mom ang gagawa niyan lahat. I'm a firm believer na equal dapat ang involvement ni mom and dad. So, pag-usapan na ni mom at ni dad kung kailan ang mom as teacher at kailan si dad as teacher. It's not mom all the time.
Agree.
Okay. Cons? Sige. So, thank you for sharing, Anna, and of course, Cons. Cons, baka meron kang, as we are about to end our OTalakayan, maybe do you have parting words for our audience?
Uh, Ayun, I think, well, burnout is very real in our profession. Kasi OTs help a lot. They tend to give a lot. So, but we will be effective OTs if we are not burnt out. So it's part of our responsibilities to ourselves and to our patients to take care of ourselves. But it doesn't happen automatically. You have to do it actively. So, ayun, occupational balance is very important, and just keep those tips in mind.
Okay. Thank you very much, Cons, and Anna for joining us today, and to all our audience. Ako siguro some take home that I am taking home while I'm home is that flexibility and adaptation is really important to prevent burnout. No, we can always cope. We have many strategies, no, whether it's emotion-driven strategies or problem-driven, with whatever you want to address at the moment. And it's ang nakuha ko kay Gonzalo is really setting realistic expectations. No, we are living in a time that it's not like before. So definitely the expectations, the limits, the resources would change, and being able to, again, adaptability and flexibility are very important. Tayo ay OTs, no? We know how to upgrade and downgrade. So let's put that into good use. Okay, so thank you so much for the 24 people who attended this webinar. In case your friends missed this will be available until June 30 in our YouTube channel. Okay? Plug ko na ang nawala si Cons. Okay. Plug ko na ang ating next season.
Sorry, you had to stand up and
Hello. Okay, welcome back. And ang ating next season will be in July, and ang magiging theme more or less ng next season na yon would be moving forward in OT practice during the pandemic. So kung ngayon we're doing telehealth, how do we now move forward with our practice during the pandemic? Yan ang pag-uusapan natin, at hintayin nyo ang ating mga lineup ng umaatikabong guest sa July. Sino-sino kaya yan? Abangan. Abangan. So, once again, thank you so much for attending. Thanks for being with us, Cons and Anna. We hope to have you again sometime in the future.
Thank you.
It's time to say goodbye. Thank you. And this is season finale for season 1 of OTalakayan. Kita-kita tayo this July for season 2.